All right, we're here doing the walk around tour on the Winnebago View 2016. And take a look at the outside of the RV. You've got a key fob that will unlock the side door, passenger door, driver's door, or lock it. So you can use this to walk around with. Retract the key so it's nice and easy to walk around with. Or you can use the door lock key. So this gray key will open the bottom lock. The black key will lock and unlock the top lock. And this key is for the bike rack lock, the cable lock. When you open the door, you've got an option to just have the screen. If you reach inside, there's a bug shield, and that'll keep you bug free and let some air flowing through the RV. That'll latch right here. You can also, when your door is closed, you can lock the lower lock or the upper lock. And here's your handle to open the door. On the inside, you'll notice in here that the awning light and the awning inner out buttons, so you can hold this out and that'll bring your awning out. You'll see the flap open up. And the light will come on. To bring it in, you just retract it. And you hold the in button down. And we'll just leave that up for a minute as we walk around. The outside of the RV, you've got nice storage here. We've got a cover for the bike rack. You've got some electrical components in here. There's a power cord here that plugs in to the inverter box. So if you want to set up the table out here and use the electric girdle, you can, or anything electrical. You've got some lighter fluid, a little extra charcoal that someone left, and some marshmallow sticks. So when you close the door, you can take this gray key and that will lock that door. This one right here is your generator access door. There's really nothing you need to do here. It's for servicing the RV generator. You can turn the generator on from out here, but it's mainly servicing. There shouldn't be anything you need to do here. This is what we call our outside garage. So we've got our leveling blocks here. You can use these to stagger a nice little leveling system. If your tire's a little leaning to one way, you can build these up into a step pattern as high as you need. So that'll help you level out if your campsite isn't real level. There's two sets of blocks in here, so plenty of blocks if you need blocks for the front of the RV tires or the two sides, depending on where you're at. You've got some extra washer fluid in here. We also keep our oils in here and things for maintenance on the RV. You can lock that up. Back here you've got a bike rack that you can take these little cotter pins out, and you can rotate. You can either rotate this down, you can turn it around so the bikes hang off the back, or you can hang the bikes off the front. Or you can just turn it around to give yourself room to put things in here. We've got a place for chairs, two here and two there. We've got straps that you can use to kind of tie them to the cargo rack so they don't bounce up against here. In a back compartment over here, you've got extra ratchet straps. And then in this compartment, is where we keep the things that we use for the sewer discharge, which we'll show you in a minute. This is where we keep the sewer discharge hose, and we'll show you how that works in a minute. Here's your water connection and your electrical connection, as well as your sewer connection and sewer discharge. We'll show you how all that works in a minute. This is just a false panel. Here you've got a nice storage compartment. We keep our propane fire pit in here if you've elected to take that out. We've got extra folding chairs in here, some umbrellas, and the black boxes for the table that you can set up at either bar height or regular table height. This is where we fill up the gas. Remember, this is a diesel-only gas pump, so we try to give you some warning labels here, but once you're done filling up, close that up, and you can close the door. If you need to get access to the engine, it's a lever right here. There's a little knob right here. Lift that up, and this will stay up with this. And then you've got your windshield wiper fluid here. You've got your oil here. There's diesel exhaust fluid here. That's a separate thing every 5,000 miles. We've got to fill that up. We try to keep that topped off for you, but if you get the DEF warning light, that needs to be refilled. You've got about 10 stops before the engine shuts off to refill that. So the next time you're at a gas station, when that light comes on, you got to go to the truck stop area or buy a DEF container and fill that up. The hood, just bring it up, push this forward, and then let it down, just like that. And that's your outside of the RV. All right, we're ready to hook up all the electrical, the plumbing, and the sewer discharge. When you do your electrical, bring your electrical cords out here. So for the electrical, when you're traveling, you're plugged into the generator's plugged into the house. So you unplug that when you're at your campsite. And the first thing that you do is you plug this into your surge protector. Your surge protector goes into a 30 amp. If you're at a 50 amp outlet, you can invert that to a 50 amp connection. Or if all you have is 20 amp or 15 amp, you can invert that down to 15 amp. You plug that into your campground electrical box and you're good to go. If you have a surge, it's going to stop here. And that's your electrical. When you're done with your electrical, you just reverse everything. So the first thing you do is you turn this upside down and plug this back in. Now your generator is going to power your house when you turn your generator on. You've got a little access panel here, so if you want to keep this door closed at the campground, you can run your cord out here, bring this up, and these little levers flip forward, and that'll keep your electrical closed when you're traveling. Take your surge protector, put that in there, put your two adapters in there, and that's your electrical. For the water, bring your hose out. You should be connected to the RV already. So you hook this end to your campground spigot, and you turn your spigot on at the campground. That's going to fill up your tank and give you pressure. So to fill up your tank, you take this lever right here and you turn it down to tank fill. When you're done filling it, you'll know you're done by the gauge on the inside, or you'll see water dripping out the overflow underneath the RV. When you're done filling it and you're just camped, you put it to normal use. The only time you have it on tank fill is when you're filling the tank. Every other time you turn it back to normal use. If you want to get at the water pump, you can turn it on right there. You might hear it running. That'll pressurize the tank, so it's now pressurized. When you're hooked up to the campground, you don't need that on, so you leave the water pump off, and this will give you pressure to all your faucets in your shower and your toilet. All right, for the sewer, what you want to do is we got some nice gloves in here. Put your gloves on. This is your connector piece. Your hose is right here. Take your hose out. You've got two ends. You've got the male end and the female end. You can only go on one way. Get this hooked up there. So this end goes in your sewer inlet at the RV. And then when you're going to hook it up to the RV, you take the cap off here. Hook this up to there. Once you're hooked up and you're into the sewer inlet, you can open things up. Make sure that's already hooked up. The first thing you do is you pull this lever out. That's going to open up this contraption here. And then you're going to have the black water and the gray water tanks are going to come together to come out here. The first thing you're going to want to unload is the black water. That's your toilet water. You pull this valve out. When that's done running, and you can hear it and you can kind of feel it on the outside. When it's done running, you push that back in, and then you pull out your gray water valve. When that's done running, you push that back in. Let it drip for a little while because it's going to drip through this. Then you turn this off. Let it sit for a few minutes, and then take this off slowly. If it's still dripping, just put it back on. If it's done dripping, then you can put your cap back on. Once it's done and you have this off, you're still hooked up to the sewer inlet at the campground. You take this under your campground spigot and you fill this up. Don't touch anything with it, but fill this up with water. And when it's pretty full of water, you just walk this thing up and let it drain out the sewer into the sewer. And do that a couple of times. And that'll rinse this out real good. Once that's rinsed out, you take this out the sewer inlet, rinse this out real good. Just run the water over that a little bit. Then you can put this back. Then you can put your sewer hose back. Put your cap back on. And you're good to go. Take your gloves off, inside out. Throw those away, dispose of them. Put your cover back on. Alright, you're good to travel there. You put your water hose away. Now that you have clean hands, shut your compartment and you turn this. You can there's two ways to fill up your water tank. One is hooking up to the spigot, but if you don't have a spigot, you can also hook up to your hose. You can gravity fill it by pouring water in right over here. And you can fill water in there from a jug or from another hose if you want. That's your sewer. All right, we're here in our 2016 Winnebago View, and we've been driving along to our campsite, and we are going to go over the arrival checklist. Show you a couple things about the front of the RV here. You've got a menu button with a navigation, so you can get to your nav screen and load that up with your sites. You can go back, you can hit Sirius XM and find your favorite channel. The cam button is your backup camera, so that's like a rear view camera. You'll want to use that when you're driving. Normal controls, you've got your charger port for your phone over here. You can put your phone here for navigation if you want to use that. You've got your hazards here. You've got your temperature setting here. You've got your air fan here. AC if you want the AC on, or where you want it to blow, defrost, things like that. You've got your driving shifter here. You've got your lights over here. You've got your parking brake right here. You've got electric mirrors here. You want to make sure those are set before you drive. But we're kind of arriving to the campground, and we're going to go through the arrival checklist, which we usually keep right up here. So you grab this. Preferably you have somebody helping you out reading the instructions so that you don't miss anything. But the first thing you're going to do is park on the most level spot on the site. Make sure the slide outs won't hit an obstruction. So remember, the slide out goes on the driver's side. You're going to want to have at least 3 feet on that side of the motorhome so that it doesn't hit anything. You're going to use your leveling blocks if you want, and again, those are stored on the passenger side rear compartment. If you need to set it up in a step pattern to either raise the front or the side, depending on what your level is. There are level gauges which are down on the floor level there. That'll tell you if you're tilted front to back, side to side. Keep the engine running and apply the parking brake is the next step, so that we can prepare for the slide outs. It needs the engine running. You're going to want to make sure that there's nothing behind the slide out here, that when you put it out it would crimp on there, so make sure nothing fell back there. And the same way over here, you want to make sure that there's nothing in between that fell off the bathroom sink. So once you get that done, you're going to put out your slide. And so we're just going to keep an eye on that boat because we're a little close to the boat. Your slide out is right here. And you're going to put that slide out, you're going to watch, and you're going to listen. If it binds or it makes a funny sound, something's going wrong, stop and see what it is. So we're going to go out, and you can kind of see the trim up here is against the wall, and it makes a kind of a breaking sound. There's a cushion that is a seal that helps stop it. So now we're fully out. So once we're done with that, we can turn off the engine, make sure your headlights are off, parking brake is on, so we're good there. If you're using a campsite water connection, turn the water pump and the inverter off. Your inverter is going to be right here, and if that's on, you're going to get powers to the TV while you're traveling or not hooked up, and the outlets right by those TVs for powering phones. So when you arrive, you're going to be hooked up to the campground, you can turn that off. The other thing you want to do is you want to turn the water pump on, and you'll see a little gauge here for the water pump. You see it turned to on right there. That's your pump switch. You're going to want to push the entry step switch off. So when the entry step switch is on, the power brings the steps in, and when you open the door, it brings it out. If you turn the power off to the steps, they will stay out when you bring the door in. So when you're at the campground, you don't want those steps coming in and out every time. That'll just leave them out. And you'll see on the departure that we want to turn that switch back on. Hook up your electrical to your surge protector and then to the campsite power. We did that when we showed you those connections outside. Connect your water hose to the campsite spigot. You can also use the supplies water filter that we have, and turn on the spigot. Turn the valve to the right of the hose, tank fill, and that, remember, tank fill, you're going to fill up the tank before you leave, so you have water when you're traveling, and you always turn that back to normal when it's full. Hook up the sewer hose. From the black tube on the cargo carrier, connect the elbow, which is in the battery box, to the end of the sewer hose and then into the sewer inlet at the campsite. Open the gray valve if you're camping. If you're hooked up to the water, you've got unlimited water coming in, but it's got to be unlimited gray water going out for showers and things. You don't want to dump your black one at the campsite when you're going to be there for a while. You want the deodorizer in your holding tank for the black water for the toilet to deodorize it. So you want to keep that in there. When you leave the campground on the departure, you'll empty that black water if you need to. There's latex gloves, as we showed you in the second battery box, and soap as well, so you can use that. Once you've done that, you've arrived and you're ready to camp. All right, your walk around tour, we're just going to start you up here. We've got a nice bed up here. We've got a step here if you want to step up and jump up. If you want to keep this up while you're traveling so you don't bump your head, you can do that. Otherwise, If you want to hook up the ladder for the kiddos to do that, you have to bring your ladder up first and then drop it down. And then it rotates in there, and that keeps it nice and secure. When you're not using that, you're going to want to store it in the clips here. Got a nice privacy curtain for the upstairs people. You've got a nice vent here. So this vent will open and close. You have to keep it closed during travel, but you can either have the screen on there or you can just have it open and really well it out. But it's all the way open, or you want to bring that screen to keep the bugs out. And then when you close it, just hit the rocker button, closed, and that's before you travel. Coming over here, you've got a fire extinguisher. You've got a little bulletin board. You can keep your stuff up here. You've got troubleshooting steps. You've got checklists for cleaning. When you're done, make sure everything's done. You've got level indicators for capacities for the different tanks. Down here, you've got your entertainment center. This can play a CD or a DVD. It'll either play on the sound system, which has speakers on the outside, so you can choose your speakers. It'll play a DVD to this TV, and if you want to connect this TV to the back TV to play at the same time, you can do that, or you can play them independently. This DVD player will only play on this TV. It will not play directly to the back TV. But that's pretty much set up. You've got to work through that. We do have an owner's manual for that. Here's the remote for that. You've got your interior light here. You've got your porch light right here that turns the light on right outside the door here. You've got, this is your additional switch to lower that vent. Down here we do have a leveling system, but it really isn't for use. It's a little complicated, doesn't work that great, so just use your blocks to level. Down here we've got the awning in and out. We had it out a little bit just to dry it out, so now we can bring that back in. You want to bring that back in. It's got brackets on the side that the arms fit into, so you just kind of keep an eye on those while you're bringing it in. When it comes in securely to the RV, it tightens up and then you turn it off. Down here you have a dead battery switch, so if we turn this to the off position, you'll have no power to the house. None of the lights will work, anything like that. If we turn that on, the lights go on. Off, the lights go off. So nothing will work in the RV, the camper part, unless you have this on. So if the kids accidentally hit that. Here's your step switch, and again, to turn it off, we just turn the back button. To turn the motor on when you're traveling, you pull this button back while you rock it forward. It's a safety latch, so it won't go forward unless you pull the button back and then rock it forward. Working our way around here, we've got a nice double sink. We've got a nice little burner here. You just turn this to the light position right here, hold it down, and then hold the button down to turn it on. And then you can moderate the flame. When you're done, turn it to off so there's no propane coming back in. When this is cooled down, then you can turn this back down, off. Moving up here on the cabinets, there's a little latch down here that pulls this lever off this hook. So here's where we keep your plates and things. You've got a nice light right here that will light over you, and you've got a little outlet here for plugging in your toaster. If you want to move the TV in, you got to put a little pressure on here before you pull the rocker back, because it's a little heavier. It won't let you just pull it back by rocking it. You got to put a little pressure on, open it, and then here you've got your TV set up. We've got an HDMI cord that you can hook up to your equipment, or you can hook it back up to the TV, the back TV, so you can run a DVD to this one and then to run it to the back TV. And we keep some leftover containers here, extra Kleenex, extra rags, straws, things like that. We've got paper towel here, and we've got extra paper towel as well. Keep the coffee maker down here. You've got your trash can. Just uses regular garbage bags from the grocery store. Just take those with you. You can just put a nice one on here. And you got a nice garbage can there. Got a little hand vac here with a little charger port here. Got a little dustpan if you want. There's some latex gloves for the sewer job. Got some disinfectant wipes, some extra hand soap, some dishwashing soap, just some different cleaning supplies behind your coffee maker. And here we've got your silverware. Got a lot of cooking things in here, so we really send you out pretty well equipped to cook. Lots of pots and pans and hot pads, gloves, and things here. Up here we've got the grates for the griddle, which I'll show you underneath here. That is that contraption there. You've got 3 sets of plates. One is for waffles, one's for a griddle, one's for grilling. So we keep that down here, keep the extras up here. Here's really your command central. So we talked about this on getting the water pump turned on. If you're at a campground, you want to use their heat. That's the electric heat. If you're not hooked up, it won't heat it. Or your generator's not on, it won't heat it. If you're on the road and you want some hot water to take a shower, you got to turn the LP on, and that light will come on. That'll turn on. And take about 15 minutes to warm up that 6-gallon tank. Turn that off when you're not using it, otherwise you're just burning propane. When you're running the generator, you hit the start button and just press it and it'll auto start. While we're showing you this, it'll start up here in a minute. And then you've got your tank levels. So you've got, right now we've got 2/3 of a tank of fresh water. Our gray water's empty. Press it, take your finger off, press it again, your black water's empty, and your LP is at 1/4 tank. Your battery is charged. That's the voltage you want. So that's your battery. So that's your devices there. You've got your inverter that we went over already. The LP is, if it's in the off position, you're not going to get any LP to the water heater or the furnace or the stove top. So you want to make sure that that's on. You can leave it on. You're only supposed to turn it off when you're filling up your propane, which you shouldn't need to do on a short trip. This is a holding tank heater, which is only for winter use, but you don't want to have that on in the summertime. Got a nice size freezer. Got a nice size fridge with some bars here to hold things in, so lots of storage. We send you out with a little egg carton. To turn this on, you want to just hit that button and make sure the A is on. So right now, because we're not hooked up at a campground, it's got a little flame, so it's going to run the refrigerator off propane. And that's what you want. When you plug in at the campground, it's going to automatically switch over to electric. That's going to be your most efficient use. To hold the button down, it'll turn it off. So that's, you want to keep it off when we're storing it. Underneath the bed, we've got extra cleaning supplies. We've got extra Dixie cups, and we've got paper towel. We've got, most of our cleaning supplies under there. You got some nice area for your storage. You also have storage here. Remember, there's a latch underneath that you have to pull up, but you've got plenty of storage here and here for your personal items. We keep the manuals and toolbox back there, so try to keep your stuff up here. You've got a nice shade there. Back in the bed, you've got a little strap behind here, and you can pull up that strap and you have a nice recliner. And then you have a strap to put it back down. But just a nice, you got a couple cup holders here. In the bathroom, got a nice size shower. There's a little clip right here that has to clip on here when you close it. So you have to pull it in a little bit to bring it over that lip, and then pull it out a little bit to take it out. When you're using the toilet, you're going to want to make sure the water pump is on, and then you just hit the foot pedal here. That'll send water down. You can also use the wand with the foot pedal to clean out the toilet. We also have a cleaner here with some pads, so you can clean out your toilet with disposable cleaning pads, as well as keep the air fresh in here. Got toilet paper in here, and you're only going to want to use our toilet paper. There's also a fan in here, and you can exhaust the air out. You can keep this open all the time and turn it on or off as you need it. For the sink, we've got a nice hair dryer in here. In here we keep our toilet treatment. So after you dump your black tank, you're going to want to just put one of these in there. Just drop it in there just like this. The plastic will dissolve, and that'll keep your tank deodorized. Got extra cleaning pads here for the toilet brush cleaner, a little trash can, and here's plenty of toilet paper for you here. Some Dixie cups, a little phone holder. Storage for your wardrobe. This thing can come down, so if you got a lot of hanging things, you can do that there. You got a convection oven, so you can cook things in here. It's got the labels for just about, you know, all the basic stuff that you want to make, pizza, chicken, things like that. So nice. We don't have a separate oven in here, so the convection oven really comes into play. The table's real nice. You can set up these side benches to sit on, and then when you've got a bigger group, you can rotate this, and you've got nice seating all the way around. So however you want to rotate that. To take these up, you put a little pressure up. You take your arm, push this bar in, and then lower it for storage. Those can stay open when you're traveling, when we've got the slide back in, but you won't be able to walk through. So, but that is an option. All right, the dinette has 3 seats, 3 seat belts on it. One here, one there, one there. For a child seat, there's a little latch back here for the child seat that you latch back there, and then you got the front seat belt here. And those are stored underneath the cushions. You just bring those up and bring them through the seat. And as you can see, there's lots of storage here. There's storage under all 3 seats. Lots of storage. You also have storage up here. You've got your toaster up here. You've got plenty of room here for your groceries usually. Remember the latches, but plenty of room up there. In order to set this up for a bed, you take the table off. Loosen that. You just set that right there. You set your table down on the ledge. You're going to lift one seat up just to get it underneath there. You want to leave this on there. It's an anti-slip pad, but it really comes into play when you're traveling so things don't slide. But when you're sleeping on this bed, you also will keep your cushions from sliding out. Puts a little pressure on, so you got a really nice sized bed. If you want a day bed, you can kind of pop it up like that. So a lot of nice options with this bed and dinette. All right, that's the inside of your RV. All right, we're ready to get on the way and go through our departure. So again, we keep the departure instructions here. Try to have a buddy read through these, but just go through them one item by an item, finish the item, and move on to the next thing. So inside prep, we're just going to kind of pick things up like we have. You notice this would slide, so if you put it on the anti-slip pad, that'll help. But you just want to make sure things are picked up that would slide off when you're traveling. To put the slide in, remember you have to start the engine. So the engine has to be going. We should already have the parking brake on if you didn't take it off. And once you have that set, come back here. You're going to watch your slide out. Hit the in button. You're going to watch and listen. Watch and listen. There's 2 motors on here. They should be acting in conjunction with each other. You'll hear them stop as it gets in, and then take your finger off the button. And that's your slide in. Exterior prep. We're going to make sure that we take the awning in. Remember we did that by taking the awning in. Make sure the light is out, and then bring your awning all the way in. You're going to check under the RV for articles and signs of damage or leaks if there's any. You're going to check the water tank level. If you need water before you leave, remember you can fill it up by still being connected to the spigot. Turn it to tank fill, let it overflow, turn it back to normal, and then turn your spigot off and unhook that. Disconnect the hose from the spigot and store it. Disconnect the surge protector and the electrical from your campsite and store that. Make sure you plug the cord back into the RV so that connects the generator to the camper. Otherwise, when you're traveling, you can turn your generator on, but you wouldn't have any power because it's not plugged in. If leveling blocks were used, move the RV off the leveling blocks and get those stowed. Latch and lock all cargo compartments. So make sure everything's closed. Make sure they're not just laying open but clipped. Make sure their fridge is not just like that, but make sure you hear a little click. Click. Secure all cargo. Make sure your cargo gear is all set. If you've got bikes, make sure they're strapped down. If you've got the cargo carrier cover, make sure that's really secured well. We've got lots of straps to do that with. Push the entry step switch back to the on position, and that's to the on position. Remember, hold the rocker panel back and then move it forward, and that way the steps will come in every time you're at a gas station or parked temporarily. Turn the water pump back on. So if you want to travel and use the water pump, make sure that that's in the on position. Make sure your inverter is on. This will allow your passengers to watch TV either in the living room or the bedroom. It'll also turn on the power to the outlet by both TVs, so you can power up your phones if you want. Designate your spotter. So if you're in a tight quarter or you have to back up anyway, make sure you've got a good spotter to help you back up. Get everything set in the RV, so you come back up here in the driver's seat. Keep that up there. To get your parking brake off, you lift it, push the button, and push it down. And you'll see the parking brake light come on or turn off right there. You've got the engine started already. Make sure all your mirrors are set to you. Make sure the door is closed, secured. And here you want to make sure it's not just closed gently or it'll wiggle. Give it a good, like that. Make sure your GPS is programmed in so that you're not distracted when you're driving. Make sure your passengers are good to go, and then off you go.